Hello and welcome to Transform Evolve. I am so excited to have Janbarry on with us today and to share her stories of her transformation and just talk a little bit about your experience with your journey and so forth. So, why don't you take a few minutes and kind of introduce yourself if you don't mind?
Yeah, of course. Hi, everybody, and thank you very much for having me, Carl. My name's Jan, and I'm from the UK. And my background is beauty and holistic therapy for 35 years. And I've always done the holistic stuff, the meditation, but I've always felt there's something, it hasn't all clicked together very well. My thought processes weren't as I wanted them. I live with my son. Um, and he's coming up for 25. I'm of an age where I want to feel really healthy and going into that stage of my life, um, and free and whole. And well, since I've met you, Kyle, that seems to have all slotted into place rather well in certain
We're definitely
areas.
moving in that direction, right?
Definitely. Yeah.
So I always love asking people this question because, we all have a story. Those who
Mm.
are really interested in personal growth and development, oftentimes, most of the time, have a moment in their life where it was very obvious to them that there is kind of no going back. Like this was the basement of my life experience and everything is up from here. So I love to ask people this question just to share in that. So, Jan, would you like to share what your experience was like when you started to make that decision for yourself,
Hitting a rock bottom,
so to speak?
yeah, so to speak. I It was actually just before 2019 hit, and I woke up with tinnitus, with ringing in my ear. It was in one ear mainly, and it completely crucified me. And from that moment on, I started to do more inner work and neuroplasticity. I'd say that was definitely the rock bottom. So that was about, what, 6 years ago now? And from
So
then
you said it
on,
was, go ahead. I'm sorry.
yeah, no. And from then on, I've just been developing my skills in helping myself, really.
So, what was the first thing you did when the tinnitus happened and you said,
Hmm.
I'm going to start working on my inner self? What was something like, unpack that for us?
So I fell apart. I completely fell apart. I couldn't sleep. I went into complete fight flight freeze. I've completely freaked out. Doctors thought I needed antidepressants, but I didn't. I just needed to work on myself and really dig deep. So I had some really low moments, because I thought I can't live like this. And so it had to only come, I had to come up from that. And I've just kept slowly going up and up and up and up and up.
I
And
know.
from then on, yeah, it's been, I actually thank it now, because if I hadn't have hit that rock bottom, I wouldn't have known how amazing this was. So
So that is really, I feel like, a big part of our soul's journey is getting to that place of gratitude and
yeah,
a level of thankfulness. Like I keep saying, I'm grateful for my experiences, but I wouldn't want to have to go through them again.
yes, I agree. But do you know, yeah, it is. I do get the ringing in the ear occasionally.
Do you?
I do. But now I know how to deal with it. I just completely ignore it. The more attention you pay to it, the louder it's going to get, because the brain thinks, well, she wants to know about this, and I don't. So,
So I know in previous conversations, because you are working with me one on one as a coach, or I'm
yeah,
coaching you. And
yeah,
so in a little bit, we'll talk about that experience, but just going back and your experience there, what did you start doing? Did you do meditation work? Like what were your modalities that you sought out and were using to help guide you through your initial steps in your journey?
yeah. Lots of meditation, lots of journaling, lots of just being kind to myself and discovering who I was. Yes, it was just, I just felt I needed to get really spiritual, and really, and I thought I was, but I don't think I was. I think I was skimming the surface.
Almost
So,
like you were unwilling to really go deeper, maybe?
yeah, completely petrified. Yeah, fear had me completely in its grip. Yeah.
You know how we talked about the way the body stuffs emotions down because we don't want to really process them? And this
Mm.
can go on for years, decades, quarter century, half century. And then at some point, it's like, okay, the lid can't stay on anymore. It's like the overflowing trash can in the kitchen. I have children and, I have to be on top of that trash can. Otherwise, I'm going to be having an overflowing trash because, like, nobody wants to take the trash out in the house except me. If we look at this example in our lives, it's like we're
Mm.
constantly shoving stuff down because
Yeah.
that's the way we learn how to process our emotions. Like, I think this is so pivotal for people to really understand is that
Yeah.
it's not that you're deficient, and really it's not that you learned incorrectly. It's just it's what you learned. Like, I don't like to put labels. You and I have talked about that in our one-on-one coaching. It's like we don't want to put labels on things and we don't want to put meaning on things because once we do that, we become attached. So in this example of the garbage overflowing, it's like, well, you learned as a
Mm.
young child how
Mm.
to cope, right? How to
Yeah.
process your emotions, although the way you learned was not sustainable. You see how that's different than saying, "Oh, well, you're messed up. You
No.
were doing everything wrong." It's like, no, let's not do that. When you said be nice to yourself, be kind to yourself, it's that same way. It's like, "Oh, wait a minute. It's not right. It's not wrong. It's just it. It was what you were
Absolutely.
doing."
Yeah.
And so I think there's millions of people that do this, right? So this is not unique to you or unique to me. It's just the way we learned how to manage. And oftentimes I think people can relate when I say this. Your mom, let's
Mm.
say you had a mother in the home and you were crying, you hurt yourself, what's the common thing a mother does? And the mother will come up and say, "Shush, shush, shush, shush. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay."
Mm.
The whole point is to get them to stop feeling the emotion.
Yeah.
And what does a dad do? Oftentimes, the masculine energy is like, "Oh, you got to tough it up. I can't. I'll raise my hand with you guys. I can't tell you how many times I heard, boys don't cry, or suck it up, Buttercup. It's like all. So it's like that was the way we were taught to manage our emotions. But
Yeah.
the problem
Absolutely.
comes in when that trash starts overflowing. And so for you, it was around this time, say 6, 7 years ago, that the trash
Mm.
can overflowed. And now you're like, and when that overflowing happens, we
Mm.
have no ability to continue to manage in the old ways.
Yeah.
And so now we have this huge shock to the system because it's like, oh, crap, my normal method of coping is no longer working, and then
Mhm.
we start to have all these anxiety issues, fears, worry, phobias. So beautiful story. And I want to go into the meditation that you did. So you and I have something in common. We've done a lot of Dispenza's meditations.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your experience with those particular meditations as well as any other
Yeah.
type of meditations that you did
Yeah.
or are still doing.
So I bought quite a few of his at the beginning, and I also bought the online course because I haven't been. It's not available to me to go to one of his courses yet.
Talk about the
Mm.
intensive progressive or so, the
That's the
progressive
one.
intensive workshop. Okay.
Yeah, and that came with quite a few meditations.
Hmm.
So I love doing the heart and the brain coherence. That one really resonates with me. And I love doing all the, I know he doesn't call them chakras, does he? The energy centers.
Energy centers. Yes.
Yeah. I tended to concentrate on those ones because I felt that really resonated, really wanted to clear. And you said about the trash can, I've just thought it just came to me that I had when I got the tinnitus, I'd got like 54 years of trash in that can. No wonder I went down to rock bottom, including deaths, relationship disasters and divorces and things like that. No wonder not dealing with it properly. But yeah, sorry, I digressed a bit there. The
That's okay.
meditations. Yeah.
I want
And
I
you
want to
did
take a moment, just one moment, Jana, that I want you to get back to this, but I want to take a moment
yeah,
because I don't like missing any opportunities. As we
no.
transform and evolve our lives, this is something that I think we all need to start doing is really focus in on what I call opportunities. This is a positive reframe to times when we say something that we don't necessarily want to be continuing to say, We
Yeah.
have thoughts that we don't necessarily want to continue thinking because it's going to be working against how we want to transform and evolve. So I use the word rock bottom or basement. You've used the word rock bottom or basement. It kind of has a negative connotation. So I just want to take a moment to highlight the words we use
Yeah.
can create the story that's perpetuated in our life. Like we are the creator of our life. So
Mhm.
if we want to choose to create something that, because let's unpack this for just a second. If you
Yeah.
keep saying the word, that was my rock bottom, it's
Mhm.
going to put a negative spin on
Mhm.
that was a very bad time in my life, as opposed to
Mhm.
that was my defining moment. How is that sit, right? Because at the
Totally.
end of the day, you wouldn't wanna go back there, but yet you're grateful for it because you are I'm gonna speak, I've worked with you for 2 months now, and I would say that you have really started to excel in your progression, and seeing you today versus when I first saw you, and then I can
Mm.
imagine what you must have been like 6, 7 years ago,
Mhm.
that was a defining moment for you. You are an
Yeah.
amazing, wonderful, powerful person, and look at where you've grown, and you wouldn't have done any of that without that defining moment. So just a little teaser here on our
Y
words, thoughts, and shifting that, even that subtle difference.
Yeah.
People say, "Oh, that's a problem." No, that's a
Mm.
challenge. How is that
Mhm.
different? Or even saying that's an opportunity.
Yeah,
Okay,
absolutely.
I digress. Meditation. So you did Dr.
Yeah.
Joe's
No, but
meditation.
I do catch myself now saying something and then taking it back and replacing it. And I even with my clients, I have to almost stop myself because otherwise I'd be telling them all the time. Be a bit subtle about it. Yeah. Going back to meditation. Sorry. Yes. I meditate. I started to meditate, I would say morning, lunchtime, because we were in actually, I could do it 24/7 if I wanted, but I've got it down to a fine art now, and I ground myself when I want to, which is a great meditation in itself. Short, and you can ground yourself, can't you? At least an hour in the morning and at least an hour in the evening. I love it. It's made me younger, it's made me freer. Everything has all come together beautifully.
I know it was, about 5 years ago now for me when I started meditating, and as a science mind, science degree, occupationally science-based, very analytical based, that was a challenge to start to really develop the skill with meditation. How was that experience for you? Did you gravitate to it very easily or
I did. I've been meditating since I've been doing this job, so a good 35 years, but certainly not to the level that I do now and started 6 years ago. So I think I've fine-tuned it enough. Like I think I said to you when we spoke last that I do the walking meditation, which is the hardest because my senses are all active when I'm walking, and to
Mhm.
block that out and go within, it's quite an ask, but I love it. I absolutely, it's almost like a food. I just love it. I really do.
What I have noticed, and I think you as well, I think anyone who does meditation practice with as a ritual, if you will, and a routine in their day, you do get to that level of it becomes like something's missing in your life if you don't do it, right? Because it's satisfying
Right.
you in
Mm,
some way that you aren't getting satisfied other ways in your life. 2 things I wanted to mention for the audience here. You know, grounding, people think, "Well, what's grounding?" There are some really good videos on YouTube. There's a great documentary about grounding. To me, that is almost superficial, and I wanna explain this just a little bit. So people talk about copper-lined bed sheets or some other types of, ancillary devices that you can use to ground while you sleep.
yeah,
People talk about the benefits of walking barefoot versus with shoes. Uh the sole, like there's some types of shoes now that you can buy that are more conductive, if you will, and so you can ground in that manner. And I'm not saying that any of these things are bad. What I personally have found, and I think you would agree with me, Jan, that the grounding exercise of being calm, quiet, we close our eyes and we connect in to the earth energetically. creating those energetic connections that in ancient Hawaiian spirituality we call aka connections, but essentially they're an energetic cord. And you can prove all of this stuff. I'm always big on science, and I always go
Yeah.
back to that. You can prove this quantum physics, with string theory, quantum entanglement. Just start researching all of that. Science is slowly catching up, whether it's because of their desire to even believe and test. It could be because equipment is not sensitive enough to measure, but they're getting better and better equipment now, and they're slowly proving metaphysics to be correct. It used to be metaphysics was woo woo, and thanks to people like Dr. Joe and other people like Bruce Lipton, people are delving into this edge of science to prove metaphysics. So, Aka connections or energetic connections through a grounding practice is the easiest way to allow your body to net to just purge all of that excess energy that's not serving you. And then, of course, you connect to higher power to bring in the positive divine energy. And that exercise we actually do in our I have a playlist where we do our 7 days to transform your relationship. And in there is a grounding exercise. I'll also record a separate video for grounding so that people can just click right on that and do it. The other thing I wanted to point out is walking meditation. So people are like, oh, what is that? And I want you to share more of your personal experiences on this, Jan, but just briefly, a walking meditation is there's several different kinds, and this is nothing new, but Dr. Joe Dispenza has kind of popularized it. And so essentially he has you start the meditation, sometimes it's sitting, sometimes it's standing. You close your eyes and you're just still listening to a guided meditation. And this is roughly about 15 minutes, give or take. And then you're to open your eyes and walk for roughly 20 minutes. And you're being guided the whole time. But the idea is to be in a trance like state while you're walking. And then you stop again, close your eyes, go back into a deep meditative state, walk again, stop again, close your eyes, and then the meditation is over. And I've had some profound experiences. My wife has had some very profound experiences. The whole concept is we should be able to bounce between the meditative state and our high beta state or a high alpha state. Because like pause, I jump into a lot of things. Forgive me. There are multiple brainwave states, high
Mhm.
beta to alpha to theta to delta to gamma, right? Those are the
Mhm.
primary. And we
Yeah.
will fluctuate while we're awake between beta and alpha. And sometimes we'll drop into theta while we're awake, but most of the time it's alpha beta. When you lay your head on the pillow to go to sleep, this is where you're going to drop from whatever state you're currently in, whether it's a low beta, high beta, to alpha to theta for a couple of minutes in theta, and then to delta. Delta is where you go to sleep. When you're in meditation, oftentimes you're in a deep theta. You can
Mm.
drop it delta, but you want to be high delta because if you go too deep into delta, too low into delta, you're going to go to sleep.
Okay.
And then if you're really good at meditating, you can actually get to the point of being in gamma while in a trance-like state. They often say that's where all the downloads happen. So
Mm.
the key with a walking meditation is to practice being consciously aware of your ability to fluctuate in brainwave states so that even while you're walking, acting, performing duties in your reality, your awake reality, you can be in that meditative state. Now, what is that good for? To me, my opinion is it's good to allow yourself to stay calm, centered, and grounded, even in a situation that might be highly anxious driven. It allows you to be open to what I call the ethos. This kind of expands our concept of reality, but essentially we can access information that I call is in the ethos. It's on the outer sphere of our reality. And then, of course, you have the universal knowledge that can come through as well. And so, if we're always in a meditative state, we're going to get information that we wouldn't normally have received to help us handle a
Mm.
problem, a concern, how we're supposed to react in a situation. Haven't you ever seen those people that just seem to get lucky all the time? It's like everything works out beautifully for them, right?
Mm.
To me, it's kind of that way. It's like if we're tapped in, tuned in, we're going to be guided to just kind of just meander through life without any real upset. So forgive me, I kind of went on a long little tangent there, but I wanted
You're
to get that
fine.
information for the viewers. Now, your
Absolutely.
experience with walking meditations, how have you enjoyed that?
Yeah, so I tend to use them because I love walking. I will walk every day. Nature is I tap into nature for a lot of my inspiration. So I walk, I observe, I get ideas, I take pictures sometimes. So if I've got something I want to mull over or I want to think about a bit deeper, I will do my walking, which will tick one box, and I'll do my meditating and my deeper inner thinking. I'll do it for about maybe 5, 10 minutes, and then I will start observing what's around me. So I guess that's my in and my out sort of procedure that I do. And then
Would
if I
you say
haven't got the answer, I'll just do some more. It makes
I
my
like that?
brain feel so calm. I live in a village, so I feel very safe. And it just suits me. It ticks a lot of boxes. It really does. And fresh air. I'll walk in the rain. I'll walk in the snow. I don't. It doesn't bother me. That's what clothes are for. But I get that lovely nature. You can't beat being in nature and getting all that information. It's lovely.
It
Yeah,
would
it's really
be
nice.
presence, right? Like, this has been a struggle for me,
Mm,
is to really understand, like I tell you, my analysis gets in the way sometimes, but I feel like it's my sole purpose to be able to analyze everything to where I can educate, teach, guide other people with words. Like, oftentimes words fall short in trying to explain something that's so surreal, so metaphysically, driven, but present. That people talk about being present a lot.
yeah,
And that's been something I've been investigating myself. And when you talk about walking in nature, to me, that's becoming present with your environment, with your surroundings.
yeah. I do forest bathing as well, where
And
I could go.
describe that.
Yeah, so I go into a forest. I'll pick a certain area, and you go incredibly slowly. I mean, so slow you observe everything, you hear everything. So you are bringing in all the senses. And I've done laying down. I've laid down on the earth and done meditations, looking up at the sky with the beautiful trees above. And it really fine tunes every single sense you have. It's amazing. You come away super calm and you
I'm
hug a tree, of course.
I'm super big on a lot of ancient spirituality, ancient understandings, and I don't always remember exactly where I read it or where I heard it, but, I do recall the data, and there was a practice of walking very slow, deliberate steps. I wanna say it's possibly, um, Buddhist, but you would walk very slow, and you would go toe to heel, and you would
Right.
take very purposeful steps, toe to heel, and you're supposed to really feel into that, and that's another practice of being present. So as you were talking about forest bathing and walking slowly, that sounds very intriguing to me, and it's exercising the senses in a way that makes you present. Because when you're not what's let's unpack present. What is the easiest way I think for people to understand this is to talk about what is not being present. You share with me, when are you not present, Jan?
Well, I'm not present when I'm literally racing around like a crazy person, not observing anything, not even my son could tell me something and he said, "Do you remember that?" I say, "No, you didn't say that." That's when I'm not present. I'm not with the person that I'm talking to. I'm not observing where I've been on a car journey and I can't even remember because my mind is woo. That's when I'm not present
And
for
how would
me.
you describe that effect on your life? If you're in that state more than you're more than you are present, how would you say that affects you?
For me personally, I can't stand feeling like that anymore. It just feels completely alien to me now because I'm not in control of my inner world. It feels like the outer world is more in control of than I am of my inner world. definitely.
So, would you say that there's a lot of people today that are probably in this position where they are more not present than they are present? And would you say that this is leading to different issues in their life?
100%. I can give you a really good example because the first forest bathing I did, I was with a group of people and we got everyone to walk slowly. I would say at least 90% of the people struggled with that because they had high flying jobs. They were not feeling themselves. They had headaches. They had stomach issues. They had all sorts of issues because they weren't present with themselves, and they absolutely loved it by the end. But they said they struggled with being slow. We're
Mm.
racing around. We're fast in our cars. We're fast everywhere. So it's just so nice to just slow down. And that again brings meditation into it. It's just amazing.
So, we've talked about this quite a bit in our one on one coaching, but I'll share for those watching that the body becomes addicted to, it becomes accustomed to certain chemicals in your body. For those of you that are more reading minded, pick up the book Biology of Belief. It's going to explain so much of what we're talking about. Bruce Lipton wrote that book based off of decades of his own research in a biological lab at a prestigious university. And essentially, what he found, to make it just really boiled down, is that it's our thoughts that create the environment inside of our body that then creates how a cell reproduces. If the cell is going to reproduce in a healthy way or in a more unhealthy way. And if you do unhealthy cell reproduction enough, it's going to turn into something that actually presents itself as a physical ailment, a illness, a disease. So when you look at that and you start to unpack this concept, it's our beliefs that can alter our biology. Then we start to see, okay, being present versus being unpresent or not present. How is that going to affect our body? And you talked about people who, and my hand is up with them too. It's like, I know what it's like to be, in a super go mode and then have to shut that off. I've been to several seven, I've been to a couple of 10-day meditation retreats. And when you go, it's all immersive. And so when you go, you literally unplug. And for me, I've been to 22 long retreats over the last 3 years, and I noticed, again, being analytical, I noticed that my very first retreat, it took me almost 4 days out of the 7 to get to a place where I could just sit and be present. Whatever present was for me at that time, because my level of being present has adapted, adjusted, and magnified since then. But then fast forward, I think it was like 7 or 8 retreats, I started to notice now it only takes me about a day to truly unplug and get into the full immersion of the retreat. So it goes back to the fact that our bodies are really addicted. Now, what are they addicted to? It's not necessarily addicted. Like, okay, let's slow this down and unpack this. If it's the phone that's your worst offender, right? That I can't seem to get off my phone,
Yeah.
or it's an app on your phone. Let's say, all the social media apps. There's a lot of research now that shows, and also some congressional hearings where they've literally interrogated, if you will, the creators of some of these social media apps. It's firsthand knowledge now that it is a dopamine machine, meaning that the person is not addicted to the phone, not addicted to the app. What they're addicted to is the chemical that is produced inside their body. Now, let's extrapolate this further. So, we've got the phone or the social media. Some people are addicted to other things that are probably worse, like alcohol or smoking, sexual addictions, all these different things. At the end of the day, you can't blame the apparatus, the software, or the substance. What you have to look at is it's your body's desire for the chemical that your body produces when you do the act, you think the thought, you consume the product. And so when people have physical withdrawal symptoms, There is such a thing as unplugging in from technology at these, what do they call them? Dopamine detox retreats. Essentially, your body is so driven by these chemicals or the desire to have the chemicals that you end up burning yourself out, mentally and physically. Uh, so when we take this all back to home for the being present versus not present, it's the same thing. When you are not present, you are in more you're in some degree of fight or flight, right?
Yeah.
When you're not present. Like you mentioned, your own experience of running around the house, not thinking clearly or not hearing things that are being said, that
Mhm.
is a varying level of fight or flight. And when you're in fight or flight, your body produces chemicals. Are chemicals produced? Now, I'm not super versed on all the actual chemicals. I know there's norepinephrine, there's adrenaline, there's cortisol, there's possibly some dopamine depending on the situation. But at the end of the day, what does it do to the body? It makes your eyes okay, let's talk about if you're in an alleyway and some person is about to attack you, okay? Let's say it's very obvious that this person is coming at you, they have some kind of weapon. What are you gonna do? Well, your immediate reaction is, "Do I fight or do I flight?" And body is running chemicals through it to make it most successful for you to do either one of those options. So your eyes are gonna get, like, pinpoint laser focused, and you're not gonna see anything around you. You're gonna only see looking through a scope on a rifle or laser focused. Your nose, your olfactory is going to significantly. Your muscles in, like, less than 90 seconds, I mean, it is fast. You're gonna have all of these chemicals going into your muscles to make them ready to just be like, boom, hyper, right? Not long-term fitness, but I mean, it's like I've heard stories of small, petite women jumping 12-foot fences because they're running away from something, or,
Mm.
normal person lifting an entire car off of someone else. That's that surge of chemical that makes your muscles like superhuman almost. But your
Yeah.
muscles were never meant to be that way all the time. Your heart, your heart's gonna be pumping, pumping, pumping. So when you think about that you're causing your body through your behavioral mechanisms, through your actions, your thoughts, your habits of like, what do you do with your free time? How do you handle your day? If you're always at some varying form of that fight or flight, what do you think that's doing to your body? Because it's constantly pumping these chemicals. There was a good story. I'm trying to remember I can't remember who said it to give them credit, but they were talking about a deer. Like if a deer sees a wolf, gotta get into that fight or flight,
Yeah.
and it's gonna run away. But
Yeah.
it when it's done running,
Mhm.
and you can observe this in nature, you're gonna see the animal, like, twitch, like, just
Shake. You
and then
must
it's
have read
not.
my mind because I was gonna tell you that story.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and so the question is, what is it doing? Why is it doing it?
Mm.
And this was a big wow moment for me. Shaking is the body purging the chemicals out of the body that it
It is.
produced moment of running away. The other thing
Yeah.
that was so pivotal for me is the deer forgot. The deer's done. Do you think the deer is gonna continue to live its life like that wolf was chasing it? No, it goes on like everything's perfect. And to me, that was so pivotal because it's like, "Oh, gotta release those chemicals,
Mhm.
and I gotta keep going back to being truly present."
Yeah. I had those shakes when I was going through my tinnitus. Evolving in that time, I was physically shaking. So my body was releasing it. I was allowing it to shake and it just dispersed. It
That's
was all part of the
cool.
process. It was cool. And you never see humans do that. They
Uh,
won't allow themselves often.
yeah.
Yeah.
I wanna jump into your experience with working with me on the coaching. You have really made tremendous progress. So just share for a little bit, like, did you have some fears, coming in? What was your expectations like? And just kind of share because other people may be interested in doing the same.
Yeah. Well, I can highly recommend it. Highly recommend you, Kyle, to be fair. I was I wasn't sure because obviously we are completely different places in the world. So I'd never met you. So yes, I was a little anxious and fearful. I didn't know what to expect, but I was also super excited, and I didn't really know what to expect. But when it all started to unravel, oh my goodness, I was there every week on time. I couldn't wait for the next one. And that's how it evolved. It just got better and better and better. It really did.
So we started, not to get into the details because that's private one-on-one between you and I mean, you're welcome to share anything you want to share. We were working in an area of your life on career, and we did what we call the mental emotional release process. Talk a little bit about your firsthand experience with that. Like, first of all, were you surprised at what we call the greater problem, and were you surprised at the different things that came out during the detailed personal history phase?
Yeah, because um, obviously I didn't want to hit you, but when you dug deeper, I know you know my reaction. My skin starts itching when I know that I don't want to go any deeper, but you know that I need to go a bit deeper. I start twitching. I start sort of like, everything starts moving a bit. And my body starts reacting. And I know you know that now. You know me well enough. And I didn't realize that was going to be my reaction. I know it now, but that was quite enlightening, to be fair. But that whole process of digging and digging, I didn't think I could ever dig that deep to find out what the true core thought processes that were stuck were. So hands up to you.
So we are in the training that we go through to become certified as a coach here in these areas of life is they teach us to really be sensory aware, to develop our sensory acuity. The body tells all the story, really. And so I was watching your physiology, and that tells me a lot. Also, in the process of doing all of this, I've really developed my own personal intuition, talking with my higher self to help me understand how to best serve whoever I'm working with. And in this case, it was serving you. And for those that are curious, when we talk about digging, it's a very easy process. It's just a conversational process. Where it gets difficult is the mind will start to get the answers. And then the conscious mind will start to say, nope, I'm not going there. And you'll start to become almost circular. And when that happens, and I observe that, it's like, okay, we need to get inside that circle. What's inside there? Are you dodging it?
Yeah.
And so it's a very easy process, but what does oftentimes happen, and I tell everyone I work with this, I say there is going to be a moment or two where you probably want to reach the screen and smack me, but I tell you up front so you know. And it's not me being mean or having fun at jesting with you. It's because you have to go there. Like, let's go back to the beginning of this call. We were
Mm.
talking about the trash can analogy, and you're just stuffing stuff in. Well, what we're trying to do, there's something in psychology called a gestalt. I want to say it was Carl Jung who kind of created this concept, but regardless, a gestalt is a sequence of events that all have the same label or meaning attached to it. And so, real briefly, from 0 to 7 years of age, you are very trance like. Your brain waves are always in theta. So, everything you see, feel, hear, touch around you just gets absorbed as your reality, not the reality, your reality, which is why you could have siblings in a home, same environment, but each sibling will have a different version of reality based on the same set of circumstances because it's how they interpreted it. So let's say you were told something around, you can't do this sort of thing as a 2 year old. Well, you associated maybe some frustration or anger with that. And then year by year by year, fast forward to today, you have all these different experiences that your unconscious mind said, that's kind of similar to that very first one, and so they stack up together. Now that's called a gestalt. And when you find that one event that was the very first event and you release it, all the other stuff just magically goes poof. It disappears. It unlocks it. So that's why we try so hard during the detailed personal history phase of the beginning of our coaching is to find that first event that you felt that emotion. And we get to that greater problem. Now, I do remember, not getting into details, of course, but I do remember we started over here in our
Mhm,
conversation and
mhm.
we ended up over here. And I remember
Yeah.
asking you, wasn't that crazy? Tell us a little bit of whatever you feel willing to share.
Yeah, no, that is crazy because you have an almost a set thing in mind, and yet you go completely in a different tangent. And it almost feels like the body's been hiding that from you. Your mind's been hiding that from you because it's totally in control, isn't it? It likes that comfortable feeling. It doesn't necessarily want you to feel happy. It just wants to feel comfortable where it is. And that's what's so crazy. But the other crazy thing is, as soon as you did it, you helped me release that. It's like I couldn't even remember that place. It's like it's gone. It's like yeah, it's really amazing. Really
We
amazing.
spent several hours talking, right? Just
Ugh.
talking. I was taking
Mm.
notes of everything. And I do that on purpose because it is a real convincer for you and for anyone else that I work with that when I go back through the notes and I'm saying, how do you feel about this now? And you're like, what? I said that? Or you're like, I'm neutral now. When
Yeah,
before
yeah,
your face was like red, you're ready to reach through and smack me. And now you're just like,
yeah,
it's okay. It happened.
yeah. Whatever. It's so true. Yeah, that's happened a few times. Quite a
Isn't
few.
that cool though? I mean, now you start to see in a real tangible, visceral way how those emotions were impacting you physically.
Even if I think about them right now, it's like they're not mine. That's not well, yeah, it's just not me anymore. Feels amazing. I mean, it's really freeing. It's and
So this is a great
when you
what's
saw
that?
me afterwards, you even said I looked different.
You did.
I did,
Yes.
and I do, and I think it's still working. I'm looking younger and younger every time you see me. It's like
Well, I mean,
Benjamin
that's
Button.
definitely physiologically possible because all that burden you carry affects your body's ability to reproduce healthy cells,
Mm, mm,
right? So you
yeah.
can imagine as you remove that emotional baggage, your cells are now able to reproduce healthy cells. Now, here's something I'm going to dive deeper into in a later video, but I'll touch it here. Our bodies, our entire body reproduces itself to where you could say you have an entirely new body every year. Now, people are like, how is that possible? It's like, well, different cells in your body have a different recirculation rate. Let's just use a loose term. I don't think that's the right term, but like certain cells will die and regenerate every week. Some may be every day. Some may be every 2 months. I don't know. But they're in your body's biology, different cells die and regenerate, but all of them die and regenerate, period. And I want to say it was at a Tony Robbins event that I went to that they mentioned this. I know my my Kumu Matt with my ancient Hawaiian spirituality, Matt James, he talks about this too. So, what I found so pivotal is that if somebody says, I've been dealing with this for 3 years, you could safely say, well, yes, you have been dealing with it for 3 years, but it's not because your body is inherently flawed. It's because some belief you have is causing those cells to continue to reproduce in an unhealthy manner that keeps causing that problem to stay in your life, that physiological discomfort, that ailment, that disease, whatever it is. Because if all science is saying that your body regenerates completely in 1 year, well, you see that connection.
Absolutely.
So,
Yeah,
yes, you are getting younger. I'm
yeah,
getting younger.
yeah.
I've tested my telomeres. That's something we're going to go into and later with our coaching together one on one is this
Mm,
body rejuvenation aspect and how we can bioregenerate and create ourselves. I'm not an expert yet, but I want to become. It's part of my own personal avatar to become a personal expert on bioregeneration and to really test the limits of what is possible. So, yes, now I want to share one other story that I found really cool. You are not, please forgive me, you're not unique in this, that you are the breakthrough sessions, the work that I do one on one, the training that I've received. This is a common denominator that people will come in and I see them, I get familiar with them. And then after we finished the breakthrough session, they literally look different. So it was a unique situation for you, but what makes this so much fun for me is that it's not unique with my clients. I still remember my very first time I did this back in training, and the lady that I was working with had several as a child, she went through several wars in her country. She was her mother country was somewhere over in Ukraine, that area. I'm not for sure what area exactly, but nonetheless, that's a pretty traumatic, situation that she had to go through, and so she was carrying a lot of burden. We went through the process, we finished the process, and the next day when I saw her come around the corner, I had to do a double take because I was like, "Is that the same person?" And so this works. I mean, it's
Mm,
so fantastic.
it does.
So we're about to embark on another segment with you on coaching one-on-one. Are you
Yeah,
excited about that? Do you have
very.
any fears, reservations?
No, none whatsoever. I just want to see you next time and start the process again. I just keep going with the process. Yeah, really looking forward to it.
And
Yeah,
just
excited.
share with those here how we talked a little bit about some of the frustrations, emotions that came up, but let's talk about the other side. Like, what have you really noticed in your life that you're willing to share?
Mhm.
How this has made such an impact for you?
Yeah, do you know one of the main things, I got incredibly paranoid about health. So if I got something wrong with me, my brain went totally I was gonna die, I'd got a disease, it was a complete disaster. And this built up for a long time. I don't get that at all anymore. That is a major take home. I don't get that at all. If I get something wrong with me, I think, okay, do I have any attachment to that? Is it? No, I don't. I just love, love, love it and meditate, and it has no major impact on my life at all.
And how has it been helping in your career also?
Career wise, well, of course, if my health is amazing, which it is, my career is easier to do, is freer to expand my intuition and my meditation work and give more to other people because I feel so much freer. People come to see me for my beauty and holistic side, but what I'm working on with yourself is my meditation business. But they come to see me and they say, well, we just want a piece of you. We don't really want the treatment. We just want a piece of you. So, and this is really accentuated. So, I mean, I see people in the street and they stop me and they want to ask me questions. I've never met them before. So I'm obviously, my aura must be like very bright.
We do a lot of energy work during our sessions. Some people are open to that. Some people don't have any idea about what that is, but essentially we use energy work in our sessions together. And yes, your aura is expanding as you naturally remove emotions from your body. It allows your conduit, your energetic conduit, your neurology to be more open to other energy, positive energy, your own divine energy, as well as energy from source. And so, yes, people are going to pick up on that. They're going to notice that. They're going to want a piece of that in some way.
Yeah. I was with my daughter-in-law and someone did stop me and she just stepped aside and she said, Jan, she said, you're always attracting these people. So yeah, they can see a difference. My family can see a difference as well.
So, there is a question I think a lot of people would like to have answered, and that would be, can I do this on my own? Like, what was the benefit of working with Kyle? And could you have done this on your own?
No way. No, because I couldn't have dug that deep. My brain would not have allowed me to have done that. I had to have somebody like yourself to unpick and see what I couldn't see and have the intuition to know that there was something deeper, something more. I couldn't have done that on my own. No, no. I'm just so grateful that I bumped into you on online, on the internet sort of thing and found you and this is where we were. Yeah.
Like I told you, we got much more to come as far as helping you personally. And for those watching, Jan, do you have a way that people can reach out to you and connect with you on your meditation business or your cosmetic line of work?
Yeah, well, I've got my YouTube channel. That was one of my challenges to learn to get over social media and embrace it. So yes, I've started my YouTube channel, so I can give you that to encourage people to come and join me. Yeah, thank you.
Very good. Yeah. So I want to highlight that I feel, well, let me ask you. I shouldn't inject my opinion. Let me ask you. How do you feel about your ability today to be on this podcast after have working with me for, I think it was 2 months or something like that, to before? Would you have been open and willing to do this? Because you said you had the apprehension of social media.
Yeah. Oh no, this felt very natural. I'm much more confident. I mean, I was quite confident before, but not to this level. Not to feel relaxed and free to just be myself, and be
It's
very
amazing.
happy with who I am. Yeah.
Well, I can say what from my heart, it has been such a joy to work with you on a one-on-one basis. I'm so excited that you're willing to come on and share some of your journey and,
Mm.
to give other people some guidance, right? Whether it's just watching this video versus, find value here, or if they'd like to work one-on-one with me at Transform Evolve and come over to work with you as well in your practice. It's sharing love and light, and I love it.
Absolutely. Yeah. Thank you so much for the opportunity. It's been amazing. This is amazing. Yeah. If we
Well, I'd
can
like
just
to
help
kind of
new people, wouldn't that be amazing?
no,
Yeah.
that's right. That is so true. I have often thought, do you remember that movie? It was a Christmas movie, It's a Wonderful Life.
Yeah. It's not
You
a
know how
really
he
nice.
wishes he was never born, and then he gets
Mhm.
this wish, and he actually sees how his life impacted everyone else. I mean, that was such a profound moment for me, and it started me to think about that. It's like, how am I impacting the lives of people around me? And so as I moved into this phase of my life, like I've got other businesses that I run, but this is the one that brings me the most satisfaction, the most purpose, the most fulfillment is helping people. And so it's a mutual thanks. Thank you to you for trusting me to help you. It does feel really good. Well, just in closing, Jan, what would you like to share, to those watching? Anything on your mind?
If you're unsure about even wanting to try this, I would just say reach out to you and have a chat with you. If you feel stuck in any way, this is the most freeing thing I've ever done in my entire life. So don't stay in that place. Give yourself that opportunity because you're so worth it. Everyone out there is so worth it. They really are.
Learn how to see what the other side of your life feels like.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's an interesting. I just thought of that. I was like, huh, you're used to the way you're living now. Hey, why don't you jump onto the other side? See how that feels for
Yeah, definitely. I can say it feels good.
it feels good.
Really
Really
good.
amazing. Well, we'll wrap it up there.
Yeah.
Please feel free to reach out. We'll put some links in the description here to find Jan's YouTube page and any other contact information she would like to share. And of course, if you want to come check out us here at Transform Evolve, you'll see our information there as well. Much appreciate everyone for tuning in. And as we always say, we're a community of those who feel that they want to live legendary lives. And I can say from my heart, you deserve to live a legendary life. So, Jan, thank you so much.
Thank you.